Welcome everyone. So all of you who have come to join today's session for acid reflux management. So guys, all of you know me except there are some people. I am Neetu Vadva. I am co-founder of Scleroderma India. I have been a patient myself since past 10 years now, and I co-founded Scleroderma India with another friend and co-patient, and we have been doing it since past 5 years now, sorry. So today we'll be talking about acid reflux. So a lot of you actually, or I would rather say most of you, have been dealing with acid reflux condition in one form or the other. But a lot of time you don't know what is actually happening with you, whether it is an acid reflux thing or is it, normal digestive issue. So today the session plan is, I'll be talking about acid reflux, the condition, the symptoms, and some do's and don'ts about it. And then we have on panel one of our patients, Ajit. Ajit had actually gone to US for a double lung transplant. So he'll talk about his journey where he'll be actually emphasizing on the part where how acid reflux affected his lungs very, very badly. And he, besides other reasons for his lung issue, where he had to take a decision of going for a double lung transplant. So I guess we'll start with the session, and I'll just share my screen now. Right. So right now, first of all, we'll have a very small video where we'll talk about the symptoms. So normal symptoms, what we see in acid reflux are acidity, bloating, where a person feels no appetite at all. There is a lot of heartburn which is happening. There is a lot of reflux issues you are facing. There are a lot of swallowing issues where you have eaten some food, but the food is not going down your throat or your food pipe. Then you get a lot of dry cough. The dry cough is so severe that it gets very difficult to do any of your activity. You get a lot of chest pain which is not related to your heart condition. There is a lot of vomiting also at times. So people might say, how is it possible that symptoms like, sorry, I'm sorry, I just have to go back a little. So people might say, how come issues like, vomiting, chest pain, dry cough, they are symptoms of acid reflux. We'll just understand it through a small video where I'm just trying to play a small video. So this talks about 6 signs of acid reflux, and we just have to ignore the part where it says how to fix it, because we are not gonna deal with that in this video right now. So 6 signs of acid reflux. So guys, just have a look at this video, try to understand what is happening, what they are talking about. Immediately after this video, we'll take the questions first, if you are able to understand this video or not, or if you have any questions regarding this. If you have any questions, put it in chat window. So it talks about that your stomach has a splinter, and if that splinter is not closed properly, or if it is not there, the acid moves up the esophagus. So now few people get acidic taste in their mouth whole day actually. So this is the reason for that. This might be a new term, but the symptom is not new. A lot of people get bitter taste, burp, and sometimes vomit. Heartburn, it's a very common symptom. I guess most of you can relate with heartburn. So yes, acid reflux increases when we try to lie down. Yes, you may feel nausea after eating. Sometimes you don't have appetite at all because of it. This is again a very common thing where you feel that food is actually stacked up over here. As we said, coughing is not a normal common symptom, but yes, few of the patients get that. Okay, so any questions on the video? If you have any question, please send in the chat window. सुभाष जी बताइए क्या क्वेश्चन है आपका? सुभाष जी बोलिए आपका क्या क्वेश्चन है? I'm not sure whether he is able to hear it or not. Okay, I think for the time being, let's proceed further. So, we talked about these symptoms which we saw in the video also. So, the symptoms of acidity, bloating, no appetite, heartburn, reflux, swallowing issues, dry cough, chest pain, vomiting. Every single thing belongs to acid reflux. There is a very interesting story about having no appetite and vomiting. See, these are the kind of things which usually get unnoticed. Even if you go to a doctor, you know, they are not able to diagnose it. They might find 100 different reasons why you are not getting an appetite, why you are vomiting. So you need to be little careful, you know. You need to report your symptoms very, very diligently to your doctor. I'll just share my experience with you. In year uh, even before I was diagnosed with scleroderma, I changed cities for my work thing. So due to a lot of pollination in that city, I started having a lot of dry cough. So it was usually the breathing problem which was affecting me. So yes, I started homeopathic medicine, but nothing was working. It was not able to help me at all. Within 2, 3 months, I started having vomiting at night. It was a very unique position where whole day I'm fine. I'm working in office, I'm working at home, but only in the evening around 8, 9 o'clock. Before I would sit to eat, I would start getting vomiting. It was an everyday issue. It took me at least 8, 9 months, to actually go to a correct doctor and get it diagnosed. And interestingly, it was diagnosed by chance. I went to all general practitioners in my area, but nothing was helping. Doctor starting telling me it's all in your head because you are living alone. You are living with your friends. You are living, uh, you know, uh, apart from your family. So it could be depression issues and whatnot. So I was labeled as, as having mental issues, but no real issue. Then I was so fed up with everything. I went to an hospital. I just told the doctors, I have so much of, breathing issues. I feel there is some problem. I'm not able to identify it. Do whatever test you want to do. The doctors were really helpful there. They did couple of tests. They actually realized there is nothing much. It's just that I had little breathing issues because of the city's pollen level, and I had acid reflux. They asked me to undergo some test. Barium swallow study test was done, and they told me you have just acid reflux, and they put me on medicine. And that very simple thing, and it troubled me for more than a year. My quality of life went down. I was not able to concentrate on my life. I was not able to do anything productive in my life for almost 1 year just because of acid reflux. I'm just trying to tell you guys that these issues might seem very, very small to you, but the kind of impact they give to our quality of life, it's huge. So I guess let's continue with this. So after symptoms, we'll talk about how do we manage acid reflux. So the general management which we are talking about right now is, firstly, you need to raise the head of your bed by putting blocks under its legs. Raising 4 to 6 inches will help keep the stomach acid and contents down. Few of you might have already done it. If you have not done it and you are still struggling with acid reflux issues, please do that. It actually changes your life completely. Next thing is, use wedges available online. I'll just show you what is a wedge. Or if you're not able to get a wedge, till that time, keep 2 pillows under your head in a slanting position, which obviously you will have to keep adjusting to get the optimum level. So we'll see what is a wedge. This is actually a wedge. This is available online. You can see the person is lying down in a particular position. The person is lying down on the left side. So again, if you are lying down on your right side, there are chances that acid will again, come up your neck, and everything will come out of your mouth. So you need to be a little careful while sleeping. The position is important. The curve which you are taking, that is important. So these are the things which we can actually do to manage things. Then, sedentary lifestyle will induce more acid in body. We all know, for all our desk jobs, we eat, we sit, and we keep working on our laptops whole day. And so it's very, very important to take small walks. You know, what you can do is, after every meal, you can take, if not more, at least 5-10 minutes walk should be okay. And stress, as we always say, stress, if it is a regular feature in your life, please work on it to reduce it. See, I'll tell you why it's important. If your mental health is not good, stress will actually induce a lot of other hormones in your body. So what happens is with all these changes, with all these medicines, your acid reflux level will increase. So there are a couple of questions. Let's see. Okay, unable to hear anything. Okay, if you are unable to hear anything, please reconnect it because from our side, we have not made any changes. You should all be able to hear everything. Okay. So somebody has asked, by coughing, you mean every time after having a meal or only when we have a heavy meal? I usually cough at night, especially if I had some specific food. See, normal coughing, when you are eating or, when you are trying to run or, when you are trying to walk very fastly, that is a normal coughing which happens with everybody. And even with scleroderma, that's still considered as a normal coughing. But definitely after having a heavy meal. Or, for example, even if it is the meal is not heavy, but you feel that you wanted to have only one chapati, for example, or one bowl of rice, but you found the food was really good, so you had two bowls of rice or you had two chapatis. So what has happened is meal is not heavy, you're still having simple dal chawal or sabzi roti or some dal roti. Meal is not heavy, but the quantity of meal has increased. That could also be one of the reasons why you are coughing after meals. So I hope I have answered your question. Okay, another question is, won't these wedges be harming our backs? No, these wedges won't be harming our backs because, see, they are designed to deal with acid reflux problem. See, in India, you don't get to see a lot of people recommending this or talking about this, but if you, go to US sites, it's very, very easily available. Lots of people in US are using it. Even doctors are recommending it. But over in India, the trend still has not caught up. Because, see, in India, it's always like, we are always on the saving side. So what I'll try to do, if you ask me to buy the veg, I'll see, how it is made or what I can do to, save some money. So I will try to lift my bed. I'll try to position two or three pillows with some supporting cushions and I'll try to, do some jugaad out of it so that, my acid reflux also is managed and I don't have to spend so much of money. I'm just talking about a general Indian mentality. So this is what happens. In India, still it is not caught up yet, but yes, it is helpful in acid reflux and it is important, if you get this. Okay, so I guess we talked about general management issues. So now we'll talk about food part, what we can do, what we cannot do. See, as chronic patients, all of us who are here, we are all chronic patients. As chronic patients, as I would rather say chronic autoimmune patients, we all understand, there is no single food diet which will work for everybody around. There is no simple handbook like in case of diabetes or heart issues where we say, okay, these are 15 things which you have to eat and these are 20 things which you don't have to eat and just take this and start managing your life with this. Unfortunately, with chronic autoimmune conditions, that is not the case. So most of the times we have to work with try and eliminate. What is try and eliminate diet? It's like there is some literature which is available which talks about these are good things, these are bad things. So what we do as patients, or what we do as patient counselors, we tell patients, see, these are some guidelines, start following them. And as far as specifics are concerned, like, dairy is there, like vegetables are there, everybody responds very, very differently. I might respond differently to a vegetable, you might respond different to a vegetable. I'm talking in a very generic concept. Somebody might be able to take milk every day, I might not be able to take milk at all. I might be able to take smoothies, you might not be able to eat, uncooked food at all. So there is a lot of variety, there is a lot of mixture of people around. So we just have to pick and choose what is working for us. So that's why when we talk about food, there is no single diet which is going to work for everybody. That we have to keep in mind. Uh, okay. So these are small, small things which a lot of doctors have been keep yeah, telling us, but at times, we don't do it or we forget to do it. So, firstly, even our parents have been telling us, chew your food properly. Take time to eat food. So there is a science behind it. When you say chew your food properly so that your saliva can actually act on your food, and uh, you know also, another important thing is it takes usually 20 minutes for your body to realize what food you have eaten. So, what happens is if you uh, take your food very, very slowly, lesser amount of food would be going into your mouth. And by the time your body starts realizing, okay, now we have got food, the food which is gone is less. But if you don't take time to eat your food. So you might eat four chapatis in one go, which your stomach might not be able to handle after your chronic condition or after your acid reflux issues. So that's very, very important that you should take time to eat food. Even if you talk to, any diet counselor, they tell you some same thing. It takes around 18 to 20 minutes to 25 minutes for your body to realize what food has gone in. Always eat freshly cooked food. There is no alternative to freshly cooked food. A lot of people might say we have been eating, stale food, but still we do fine. If you are able to do fine, nothing like it. I would rather say you are lucky. But yes, if you eat freshly cooked food, your acid reflux issues are gonna come down considerably. Take small meals during the day instead of three big meals. So what happens is, what we try to do. In Indian homes, we skip breakfast, we rush to our office, or we rush to do household work, and then we eat lunch, and dinner is the most heaviest meal for us. And actually, we should be doing completely opposite. We are not supposed to skip our breakfast. We are supposed to eat our lunch and dinner on time. And dinner should be the smallest meal of the day. I'll tell you why. Now, while you are eating your food, you might find difficulty that food is not going down your throat. So it's okay to have small sips of water in between while eating food. Yes, I know doctors don't recommend it. And you go to any expert person, they say you should not be taking water while eating food. But yes, with our condition, it's absolutely okay if you want to have water while you are having food. With water, I mean to say any drink which you want to have, but yes, water is the best choice. So try to include dishes with thin gravy in your meals. So what happens is, I'll just try to give you an example. Few of you might be able to relate to it. So when we are eating rice with some dry sabzi, I'm talking about a typical Indian meal right now. A rice or roti with a very dry sabzi. You know, what happens is it might get stuck, and if you replace that dry sabzi or with try sabzi, you include thin gravy. I'm not talking about heavy gravies like, shahi paneer or stuff like that. Once in a while, everything is all right. But, in a very generic level, day-to-day food I'm talking about. So if you try to include thin gravy, you know, chances are your food, which was going to stuck in your throat, is able to go down pretty well. Actually, I've experienced it, and I'm sure once you try it, you will feel a lot better. Okay. So, another important thing is less oily and spicy food works best with acid reflux. It is again important. When we talk about, gravy food, gravy items, one thing which comes to everybody's head is gravy means lot of oil, lot of spices, it will taste good. Yes, it tastes good. Once in a while, it's all right. But for day-to-day purposes, let's stick to less oily and spicy food because lot of spices, when they are combined with oil, they create a lot of reaction with your stomach acid, which actually increases acid reflux. You might feel that if you are taking spicy food, you are not feeling that bad. But if a lot of spicy food is combined with a lot of oil, then issues might arise. Then probiotic has been proved to be very, very helpful in few patients. Yogurt, buttermilk are the most familiar sources of probiotic. Include them in your diet. At least 2 meals a day. 3 meals I'm not saying because at night it's not advisable. It keeps, cold effect to a lot of people. People might start having congestion or a lot of cough might induce because of that. But if you have yogurt or buttermilk, in your breakfast and lunch. If not yogurt, start taking buttermilk. It is very, very healthy. They are low fat and make sure it is homemade. I'm not saying about outside yogurt or buttermilk because again they are all processed then. It's better to stick to homemade stuff. Then there are a lot of aromatics in our Indian diet, like ginger, banana. Sorry, ginger is there actually. Ginger is one of them which has been beneficial, reducing acid reflux. Then there are a lot of fruits which actually help you, like bananas are there. If you have one banana every day, you will feel a lot better after a couple of weeks. Papaya also helps in reducing acid reflux. So you can include them in your diet. Few people have reported to us that apple cider vinegar with water, on empty stomach, has been working very, very good for them. If you want, you can try it out. People say that is for weight loss. And anyways, we are the patients, we have a lot of other issues and we anyways are underweight. We don't want to lose weight. So yes, the choice is yours, but yes, few people have reported that, their life has actually improved after they have started having this. So I think let's take a couple of questions if somebody says. Okay. So Noor is not able to hear. Thank you, Kirtada, for helping out. Okay. So we talked about food which we should be having. Now let's talk about food which we should not be having, which actually induce a lot of reflux. So firstly is reduce your caffeine intake. Caffeine, we all know, it's your tea, your coffee, or any other source which you are addicted to. So commonly, when we are sitting at home or when we are working, it's always good to, pick a cup of coffee, start working, or pick a cup of tea and start chatting with your friends. So you have to reduce your caffeine intake to minimum. Do not take tea, coffee on an empty stomach at all. This is a very, very big lifestyle change for a lot of people. But if you make this change, even this one single change, at least 30 to 40% your issues are going to come down. So people have come back to me and told me that, ma'am, it's very difficult for us to leave tea, coffee, because we get up, we have to do a lot of ghar ka kaam, then we have to go to office, so it gets very difficult. So what do we do? So, I suggest make small lifestyle changes. When you get up, start taking hot water, and within 30 minutes to 1 hour after you get up, that's the best time to have your breakfast. If you're not able to do that time, that's all right. So don't try to, push it further. Please have your breakfast maximum by 9 o'clock, 8:30, 9. You want to delay it, 9:30. Don't delay it after that, because your whole day will go by after that. So start your day with hot water, then have your breakfast early. After having your breakfast, then have your tea, coffee. So what has happened is, you had your tea, coffee in the morning, which anyways you were taking around 8, 9 o'clock after getting up. Now at least there is some food in your body, and tea, coffee is not an empty stomach. So two important things happened over here. Firstly, you had your food on time, which is very, very important. And again, breakfast is very important to start your day. And then tea, coffee is not on an empty stomach. So with one point, we solved two big issues. Stop eating before you go full. As already told you, if you are feeling hungry, you know that, okay, today the food is really good. I might go for, uh, 3 chapatis or 4 chapatis. So stop before that. If you want to have 3 chapatis, stop at 2, analyze your situation, see if there are deserts, let's leave the food, let's eat some dessert. Or if there are no deserts or there is nothing after dinner, so just see if you can manage with those two, or have 2.5, but you don't have to get full. After lunch, after dinner, after breakfast, you should not be getting that heavy feeling that, okay, food is still sitting in my neck, man, I'm not able to breathe. That should not happen. That's very important. Never eat a big meal for dinner. Dinner should be the smallest meal of the day. हाँ जी, ठंडा पानी आप ले सकते हो पीने के लिए, वैसे कोई दिक्कत नहीं है ठंडा पानी में, लेकिन ज़्यादा ठंडा पानी तो वैसे भी गले में दिक्कत करता है. एंड if you notice, ice cubes, ice cubes tend to give a lot of problem to a lot of people. Ice cubes लोगों को बहुत ज़्यादा गले में problem कर देता है. If you want to have cold water, ठंडा पानी चाहिए, lot of Indian homes have मिट्टी का मटका. If you guys are able to relate what I'm talking about, there are a lot of earthen pots which are available. You can use those earthen pots, or you can keep some water in fridge for your intake. Yes, take cold water, but it should not be really, really cold. Then you will start having cold related issues, even in summers. So yes, there's another question. नहीं सर, दही दूध में भी कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं है. As we have already told you, eat whatever suits you. If you think anything is giving you problem, please stop that food, eliminate that food from your diet. Right, so we were talking about never eating a big meal for dinner. Dinner should be the smallest meal of the day. Now, what happens is, after dinner, most of the people, they do is they watch some TV, and within 30 minutes, they plan to sleep. Because dinner is anyways after 10, 10:30 for most of the people. So obviously you are tired, you want to sleep, so within 30 minutes to 1 hour you are sleeping, which is wrong. You need to wait for at least 2, 3 hours before you lie down, so that your food gets little digested. The digestion process starts. It is not only for dinner, but for every meal. A lot of people, they want to lie down after breakfast. That they get up early, they do some ghar ka kaam, and after breakfast around 9, 10, they feel lethargic, they want to take a nap. but make sure, you had your breakfast long before, so that, you lie down and your food is not coming out. So as we have already talked about, too fatty or spicy food can trigger reflux. So keep a check on its consumption. Now avoid eating red meat. Why we are especially talking about red meat? It's actually not only red meat. Red meat is very heavy, as most of you by now know. So it's not only red meat. Red meat is actually a symbolic food right now over here. It means anything which is very, very heavy. So, for example, most of us, the lifestyle is like this. We tend to go out only in the evenings or night. After 8 or 9, we think, okay, let's go out, let's have some fun. बाहर जाके कुछ अच्छा खा के आते हैं. Or there is some party or social gathering. Everything happens in second half of the day. In the sense, it's always after 8, 9, the parties usually start. So वहाँ पे जाके we eat all heavy food, we eat all fried food. There's a lot of fancy platters everywhere, and most of the things are fried over there. अगर आपने अभी तक नहीं notice किया, please start noticing it. Whenever we are going out, either to a restaurant or any social gathering, most of the food in buffets is mostly fried, which is again very heavy. So we have that food and then we come back, and when we try to sleep after that, we are feeling a lot of discomfort because it was very, very heavy food. And yes, when we were going through all that, thoda sa zyada bhi kha lete hain. So it becomes a big problem. You're not able to sleep at night. And for a lot of people, they say going out has become terrible because बाहर जाने के बाद पूरी रात खराब होती है. So yes, there are multiple factors to it. So you need to change your lifestyle. If you want to go out, start doing that in day. Every time it's not possible. If you are planning your outings, then you can plan in the day. If somebody else has invited you, make sure you have eaten something back at home, so that if you want to go and eat something or try out something, it should be only trying out food, not having a full meal, because the food is heavy. Secondly, it's very late. So avoid consumption of alcohol. If you want to have alcohol, please talk to your doctor. Most of the doctors, they don't recommend it because alcohol interacts with most of our medicines. So it's important that we avoid consumption. Yes, Dipali, that's why I'm saying avoid consumption of alcohol. But if you still want to have it, talk to your doctor about it once. So avoid eating chocolates and peppermints as it triggers acid reflux. See, it is quite possible it might not happen to you, but a lot of people have reported that chocolate has got a smell, which gives a lot of nausea to them, and it becomes problem for them. Okay, I'm one of those people. I can take peppermints, but I cannot, bear chocolate smell at all. So it depends, person to person. Then if you are, into smoking, I would advise you to quit smoking, not only for acid reflux actually. If you are having any chronic autoimmune condition, it's advisable to quit smoking and quit consumption of alcohol. Then carbonated beverages can aggravate the symptoms. Few people say that they are able to take cold drinks. When I'm talking about carbonated beverages, I'm talking about all the cold drink brands which are available. So a lot of people have actually said that it aggravates the problem. You can just try out for yourself. A lot of citrus fruits create a lot of problem for people, especially like mosambi, pineapple. Few people say lemon, and few people said oranges. So please find out for yourself what is working, what is not working. It is quite possible that lemon might not be giving you problem, but something else might be giving you problem. Orange might not be giving you problem, but mosambi might be giving you problem. So please find out for yourself what is working for you, what is not working for you. But yes, mostly we have seen it some citrus food is giving problem to all the patients. So a lot of people, find difficulty with tomato paste or sauce. Why I've specially included this tomato paste or sauce? See, there could be two reasons for this. One is tomatoes are very, very acidic in nature. Secondly, when we are taking market-based sauce, they already add some preservatives to it or some agent to it which makes them more acidic. So it becomes a complicated issue because most of the patients today of acid reflux, whoever is present today, we already got other chronic issues with us. With all our chronic issues, anyways, it's not advisable to go for processed food. We always keep talking about, all packaged processed food should be avoided. So same way tomato paste or sauce. Why this? Because see, our lifestyles have changed. Once in a while, we want to prepare pizza, we want to prepare pasta, we want to prepare some exotic dish, we want to prepare some Tex-Mex food. So please look out for yourself if it is working for you. But anyways, my advice is all the processed food, you are using it, please keep it to minimum. Okay. So we have talked about food part, we have talked about, generic things. So another important thing is do not wear tight clothes as it puts a lot of pressure on your stomach. So what happens is when I'm wearing tight clothes, my stomach is not able to, breathe properly. Yes, stomachs do breathe actually. With us, they also breathe. See, with autoimmune conditions, with chronic conditions, our bodies start behaving very, very differently. So we need to understand, we need to respect our bodies in the sense. So what happens is, after eating food, if you're not feeling comfortable, just check what kind of clothes you are wearing. And if you change your clothes, and for example, if you are at home, put a little more loose t-shirt, put a little more loose pajama or shorts, and see for yourself. Within 30 minutes to 1 hour, you'll start feeling better. If it is only because of your tight clothes. So let's take questions. Okay, so sorry, there is one slide which I was going to talk about. Okay, complications with acid reflux. We talked about what we should be doing, what we should not be doing. Before I want Ajit to take over, I'm just going to tell you if the acid reflux is too much with my body and if it is not being managed properly, what could happen? There could be bleeding in esophagus. There could be ulcers in my stomach, in my esophagus. There could be chronic scarring leading to inability of swallowing a food completely, that I might have to go for a surgery. They might have to put me on a tube where at least for some time I'm not able to eat food altogether. We have patients with us. Currently also we have a patient who is going through a similar thing. She is still having tube with her, but gradually and slowly she has started eating some food. So it is a very real condition. Then your voice could become really hoarse. You might start having laryngitis. You might start having sleep disturbance if your acid reflux is not controlled. And there could be inflammation and infection of lungs. Pneumonia could be next thing which might happen, which initially you might not even know why all this is happening. So acid reflux in itself is a very small thing, but if not managed properly, we don't know, where we would be tomorrow with all these chronic issues. So guys, these was from my side. So today, as I already told you, we have Ajit with us. I'll stop sharing my screen also. So Ajit had gone for a double lung transplant in US. He had faced a lot of hardships, and today he will share with us what exactly happened with his acid reflux condition. And it was one of the major reasons, which led to his lung deterioration. Over to you, Ajit.
Hey, thanks, Neetu. Hello, everyone. So good to see you all here. And I hope so. I guess everybody understands English, right? Especially Noor Muhammad, Subhash. You all understand English? Can you
Yes.
raise your hand? Or you want me to talk? I can talk in Hindi also. Okay, fine. So, okay, as Neetu said, I'm part of your family. 25 years with scleroderma. Uh, I've gone through pretty much every complication what scleroderma can bring in our lives. And trust me, most of the complications of scleroderma can be uh, can be either avoided or postponed to an extent that it will never affect your life very badly. As Neetu was trying to explain you, one of the complications scleroderma is acid reflux, right? We all face it. All of you will have some or other kind of acid reflux coming up, right? So need to explain you what you should not be doing and what you should be doing in terms of food, in terms of activity. I wanted to explain you why. Like suppose Neetu is telling you, okay, don't eat meat. Why? How does it really creates a problem? Not eat chocolate. Why? Don't eat coffee. Don't have coffee. Why? So you need to really understand how our system works. So when we eat anything from here, right? It goes from here into the stomach through a tube. It's called esophagus, correct? It's called esophagus. At the end of esophagus, there's a wall, which Neetu's video showed you guys everything. It's called splinter, lower esophagus splinter. It's like a wall. Like we have walls at house. When we open the wall, the water goes out. When we close the wall, water stops, right? It's exactly the same wall here. So when your food goes, so when you eat, your esophagus does the contraction motion, takes the food down, and the wall opens and the food goes down in the wall and the wall closes. That's how your stomach is, right? But what happens with over time, A, because of scleroderma, and B, because of reflux, this esophagus becomes weak and the wall remains open. The wall tightly band hona chahiye, tightly, it always remains a little bit open. So the acid and the stuff from stomach keeps coming out and keeps creating complication, right? Now, somebody talked about cough. What is happening? Cough. So when you're sleeping in the night, right? Imagine this is your stomach. Some stuff from stomach goes into your esophagus and it reaches your throat. And from throat, it tries to enter your lung because there's a common opening here, right? So the moment it tries to open, get into your lung, your system is like throwing it out. This is what your system is doing. It's trying to throw away the acid reflux. So what Neetu was trying to tell you, अगर आप acid reflux पहले ही रोक दें, if you stop acid reflux right here, it will not reach here. Correct? That's what Neetu was trying to explain. So if you sleep at an angle, how will the food go up? The food goes up only when you're sleeping like this. I hope you're understanding, all of you. That's why it is very important what Neetu said, that you guys should sleep at angle. Put ईंट होती है और blocks below your bed. Raise bed ऐसा होता है, उसको थोड़ा ऐसे कीजिए. If you put a wedge, it further becomes like this. And if you do this, trust me, a lot of your acid reflux problems will go away. That's one. Second thing, what you need to do, again, what need to emphasize is that you should not sleep for 2-3 hours. Think of this as a stomach for 2 to 3 hours. So after 2 hours, the food goes down from stomach into intestine. So stomach is empty. If their stomach is empty, वापस क्या आएगा? रात को कुछ भी नहीं आएगा. Nothing will come up and you will not get cough. That's what Neetu was trying to explain you, right? So
I'm
typically,
sorry. I'll just try to. I'm sorry to interrupt you in between. I just realized we are already getting around to 40 minutes with our meeting. So, or maybe
Okay.
more than that. So, by any chance, if the meeting gets disconnected, please join back.
Yeah.
It's for
Or can we all
everybody.
join back?
No,
We
I
can
guess
all join back.
it's working fine right now. I guess it's already extended. The time is already extended.
Okay. Okay. So I was trying to explain you, अगर आपके स्टमक में कुछ भी नहीं होगा तो ऊपर कैसे आएगा, और ऊपर नहीं आएगा तो कॉफ क्यों होगा? Simple, right? That's the logic. So at least what I understood in life from doctors in US and everywhere in the world, if you eat vegetarian food, it goes down from stomach in 2 hours, 2 hour, 2 hour, 15 minutes. If you eat non-vegetarian food, it takes more than that. It depends upon the kind of meat you are eating. So if it's usually chicken, it will take 3 hours, 2 hour 45 minutes. If you eat red meat, it remains in your stomach almost 3.5 hours. So it becomes bad. So if you eat red meat or if you eat meat, you will have to lie straight for 3 hours. It's simple, right? I hope everybody is following this. Why I'm trying to tell you is so you understand why it is happening. Now I want to go through some of the points. Okay, one of the question I saw, veg. I'm using veg for more than 3 years. Nothing happens. In fact, the back becomes stronger. On the contrary, because you're always sleeping with stressing your muscle a little bit, the muscle becomes stronger over a period of time. In fact, so it actually helps in a way. Dry cough. I explained you रात को this stuff is going here. Think ये stomach है, ये आपका गला है, ऐसा सोचिए. यहाँ से if it goes to your gala, it tries to enter your lung. Your lung is trying to throw it out, cough it out. Usually in the middle of night, cough happens. Right? It's called midnight cough. It's typically a sign that you're aspirating. आपके stomach से सामान ऊपर जा रहा है. That's a typical sign. Okay? I hope understood. Swallowing issues. Swallowing issues, दो रीजन होते हैं. एक तो esophagus वैसे ही because of scleroderma esophagus gets compromised. The more you have acid reflux, the more your esophagus will become bad, which again Neetu was trying to explain you. The acid keeps coming in your esophagus. It keeps damaging. Now imagine ये हाथ है आपका, आप यहाँ मारते रहिए. It will keep damaging, right? Will you be able to use it? No, because you're injuring it. आप पूरा टाइम इसको इंजुरी करते रहेंगे, यहाँ में जो दर्द रहेगा, you will be. Same is esophagus. If the acid keeps coming in esophagus, it gets destroyed. It gets compromised. उसमें कुछ ना कुछ चोट लगते रहती है इन अ वे. वो अंदरूनी चोट उसको लगती है जो आपको नहीं दिखती है, राइट? तो इसीलिए जितना एसिड रिफ्लक्स कम होगा, आप ये पूरे प्रिकॉशंस फॉलो करेंगे और नीतू टोल्ड यू, तो आपका इसोफेगस कम खराब होगा, तो उसके बाद के कॉम्प्लिकेशंस कम होंगे. Swallowing will become better, everything will fall in place. Chest pain. Now chest pain is because of reflux. When the acid comes here and esophagus gets damaged, you're gonna feel pain. आप यहाँ पे चोट लगाएंगे अपने हाथ पे तो आपको दर्द होगा. Same esophagus में दर्द होता है. That's called chest pain. That's what you feel. A lot of people, you all, if you have acidity, you don't eat food. No, don't do that. Stomach releases acids irrespective of the fact whether you eat or not. And if you don't have food in your stomach, it will come up more and more. So you have to keep eating, as again Neetu said, regularly, small meals. Now another thing which Neetu was explaining, how much you should eat. Now think you have a weak splinter. If you eat full stomach, what will happen? If you fill your bottle, suppose you have a bottle of water, आप उसको पूरा भर दीजिए, थोड़ा सा भी हिलेगा बॉटल तो क्या होगा? सामान बाहर आएगा, right? The liquid will come out. That's what happens with stomach. When you eat too much, it keeps coming out. It leaks from your what you call the splinter, and it keeps leaking up. So that's why eat less. Eat 75%. Then थोड़ी देर बाद फिर से खा लीजिए, 2 घंटे बाद, कोई प्रॉब्लम नहीं. एक बार वो खाना नीचे चला गया, again eat. But एक साथ ज्यादा खाना is very dangerous. It's very, very bad for you all. Okay. My recommendation, if any of you are eating meat, chicken or red meat, eat vitamin C with it. It really, really helps digesting it. Half of that, it's very khatta meetha gul. It's like a dessert. You enjoy it. It's like sweet toffee. If you eat vitamin C with meat, it will help you. Somebody asked a question on alcohol. Now, you know why alcohol is said ki don't have? we just hear doctor says alcohol mat piyo. No, there is a reason. When you drink alcohol, the splinter, which is your wall, it relaxes. It opens up. Everything in your body relaxes because of alcohol. So if your splinter relaxes, what happens? The stomach stuff will come up. It's a very simple process happening here, right here in your body. Alcohol will relax splinter, stuff will come up. So at least I know my doctor recommended that if you are ever having alcohol, just have a glass of wine, nothing else. No carbonated drinks, basically no beer, no nothing, because any carbonated drink has bubbles. The bubbles come up. The bubbles will come up. What will happen? It will affect your esophagus again because your splinter is weak. It will open. Stuff will come up. So here they say, at least my doctor said, I can have like a glass of wine once in a week, one drink. That's it. That's how they recommend. Or you can have, twice a week. But the reason is this. So you need to know, you need to understand कि ज्यादा पियोगे तो आपका पूरा सब सामान ऊपर आ जाएगा रात को जब आप सोओगे. एंड अल्कोहल में नींद आती है. जब आप सोओगे आपको मालूम ही नहीं पड़ेगा, वो आपके लंग में लीक होना चालू हो जाएगा. When it goes in your lung, it destroys. When, if you remember last slide of Neetu was saying a lot of people get laryngitis or they lose voice. Why? The acid is coming up, the alcohol is coming up. Your vocal cord is right here. The acid goes and the alcohol goes and destroys your vocal cord. I had an issue where 5 days I couldn't talk, no voice, because the larynx, which is what the gland for talking is, it gets inflamed. उसमें सूजन हो जाती है. सूजन समझते होंगे आप लोग, swelling समझते होंगे. उसमें swelling हो जाती है. Swelling हो गई, so larynx is like this. अगर swelling हो गई तो खुल गया, तो हवा लीक हो गई. हवा लीक तो आपका आवाज नहीं आता है. It's very simple. But again, it happens because alcohol and acid goes and destroys it completely. So chocolates, simple. Chocolates have a lot of caffeine. Chocolates almost have equal amount of caffeine as coffee. The more chocolates you eat, the more acid reflux you have. Any caffeine will create acid reflux, now be it a coffee, be it anything. So that's why at least doctors told me not to drink too much coffee. So anyways, I am not a coffee drinker. I have tea 2 times in a day, morning, evening. But as Neetu said, not on empty stomach. कोई भी liquids, if you take empty stomach, imagine again it's like a balloon. Now you're putting a lot of liquids, so हिलेगा तो ऊपर आएगा. जैसे liquid सबसे जल्दी ऊपर आता है. So you need to be very careful when you are having only liquids in your stomach. So kind of a mix match, don't have pure liquids, alcohol, smoking. Now think why Neetu is saying smoking reduces flexibility of lung, right? So lung work, there are two things in the lung, a lungs capacity and the flexibility. Like आप breathe करते हैं तो lung expand होता है और जब सांस छोड़ते हैं तो बंद होता है. तो जितना flexible होगा उतना easy होगा. Smoke tight, so when you're breathing it will be only this much. A normal person can be like this, and this you're smoking it. And on top of that you always have this acid coming in, which is going in lung a little bit. So smoking for scleroderma patients is very dangerous. Your lungs will get destroyed very, very fast. So avoid any of that stuff. Carbonated drinks, I already explained. And tight clothes, again, simple. Why Neetu is telling you not to wear tight clothes? If you have tight clothes on your stomach, what happens? It puts pressure, your splinter is weak, stuff comes out. It comes out, goes in your esophagus, goes in your throat, you start coughing.
Ajit, I'm sorry to, interrupt in between. I guess everybody today is interested to hear about your story of your acid reflux issues, what went wrong, and how they really affected your lungs.
These exactly, Neetu, are the issues happened with me. So my esophagus was weak, my splinter was open, and whenever I would sleep, and I used to sleep straight, the stuff from my stomach will go in my lungs slowly. It destroyed my lungs. My lungs went bad completely because of aspiration.
So was it only because of acid reflux, or were there other issues which really led you to take this decision of a double lung transplant?
So two things. A, scleroderma also affects lungs, but it is so slow that it will really not bother you guys through lifetime. That's what my doctors told me. The majority of problem which happened in my lungs was because of aspiration. Here, doctors couldn't figure out that I was aspirating. I was stuff from my stomach was going in my lung. And when they did tests in US, it's called a pH test. They figured out that the amount of reflux which I had was highest ever in the world they had ever seen. The reported numbers. There's a test called pH test, and the score is called Demister score. And it's all happened because of the acid reflux. So they said over a period of time, because I didn't take these precautions which you are telling them, I was refluxing so bad that even while standing, when I was standing, I was refluxing continuously and the stuff was going up and in my lung. So that's what happens if you don't follow these precautions over a period of time. It will create a lot of problem to you guys. That's what happened exactly. And the problem was that it was very difficult because by the time, since my this whole esophageal system and splinter had become so weak, it was very difficult for them to fix it. Because even if they give me new lungs and I have this same system of esophagus, it will do reflux to the new lung also and it will destroy it. So they had to fix this on my stomach and they fixed it up and I'm fine now. But yeah, for whole life I had to sleep like this. I sleep like this, literally 40 degrees, 30 to 40 degree angle. That's what is the recommended angle. For normal person, for you guys, you should sleep at 30-degree angle. I have like 40-45 degree angle at which I have to sleep. But in any case, as Neetu suggested, you all should sleep at angle. Because if you have scleroderma, you will have your esophagus compromised, you will have your splinter compromised. So you must sleep here if you want, in a way, save lungs and follow all the other precautions which Neetu is saying.
So, Ajit, there is a question. Somebody is saying that they feel heaviness in their throat when they speak. It's sometimes. So, could it be because of acid reflux?
Uh, Maybe because of reflux coming in, and over a period of time, her throat has got so inflamed. All the glands in throat have got inflamed. Maybe because of that. So you can go to typically a ENT guy, and they put a camera in your throat and they check, and they'll be able to tell you whether you have what they call as inflammation. And if you have the inflammation, it's usually because of that, and they will probably give you some steroids or something to reduce the inflammation, and that should work. But it will keep happening unless you will control your reflux. Thing you brought me to, you
Okay,
always have to
so
talk to your rheumatologist to have another, gastroenterologist and a ENT person in these discussions. It's very important that a rheumatologist talks to a gastroenterologist and they figure out what is happening.
correct, agree with that. So
Yeah,
another
Neetu,
question, whether acid reflux can damage food pipe, esophagus and cause ulcers?
100%. It's a no-brainer. That's the acid reflux is the cause of ulcers, and in the more you have acid reflux, the more will be ulcers. And I mean, in worst cases, especially it may lead to cancer also. I didn't want to say, but since you brought it up, because of this acid reflux, I also ended up having lung cancer. The acid went in my lungs so much, it went and destroyed my lungs, and I got lung cancer also because of that. So acid can be bad. You can control it. The point is, and please control it.
Okay, thank you, Ajit, for that. There's another question. How safe is it to take acidity reducing medication on a daily basis? I think I would like to answer that. See, let me explain it like this. There is a huge fire which is actually burning inside us. So take it that way. You are you comfortable living with that fire, or are you comfortable, dousing that fire and make your life more comfortable? See, everything depends on the kind of symptoms you have. It is absolutely okay to take acidity reducing medication on a daily basis, or for that matter, a lot of people ask the same thing about steroids. If doctors have given them steroids, or a lot of immunosuppressants we are on, all heavy medication. As per my understanding, it is absolutely okay to take medicines on a daily basis because we are fighting a very, very big demon over here. Either it's acid reflux, either it's any other chronic autoimmune condition. Because if we don't take it, the issues which are going to arise because of non-taking of medicines, they are very difficult to deal with. So it's better take your medicine on time
I
and get
will
yeah,
Neetu,
Ajit,
I will
please.
add one more thing. So I don't know who asked the question, but just so that you know, one of my doctor did this mistake. He stopped my acidity medicine for a few months, okay, for some reason. And that's what damaged my esophagus most. Please do not stop your acid medication. And I also did not take, doctor ne bola hai, side effects hote hain, why to take. I did all that and my esophagus got completely damaged. So I would seriously recommend that please do not think about side effects because you have a big demon to fight with, as Neetu was telling you. Please take acidity medicines as prescribed by your doctor. And global literature says that every scleroderma patient must take acidity medicines all through. So
Uh,
yes,
there is another concern which a lot of patients have been keep asking us that instead of taking acidity reducing medication, we take normal over the counter Gelusil and Eno and stuff like that. And we don't want to take acid reflux medications. So Ajit, you want to throw some light on that?
no. So what happens when you take generic? There are two type of medications so that you understand. One is what Neetu is saying, the Gelusil, you take Zantac or anything, any of those things. Problem is in those medications that they work only when the acid is already generated in stomach. Now imagine you have so much acid and now there's a fire, as you were explaining, you're putting water in it. But remember, before putting water, fire has already burned the stuff out around, right? आग already लग चुकी, damage already हो चुका. So it will just give you relief कि आपको burning feeling नहीं हो, but damage उसने already कर दिया. The other medicines which are called PPIs, typically Nexium, esmoperazole, omeprazole, perazole, and all those perazole groups, basically, those medicines stop acid from being created in your stomach. So acid आता ही नहीं है stomach में. Very little acid comes. So there's a very little acid. In any case, the damage is, it doesn't do any damage. It only is sufficient enough to digest your food. So ideally here, at least I don't know how there, but need to here they recommend taking PPIs, those acidity medicines which are basically prescribed by the doctors.
Okay.
So
So there's another
Gelusil and all
question.
doesn't help. Yeah, but one more thing, Neetu. But sometimes it happens that even after taking those PPIs, somebody eats too much, right? And they get acidity. Then in those cases, they can use those as the additional medicine, not the primary medicine. So you can take a little bit of Gelusil if you feel uncomfortable.
Okay, so I guess there are no more questions. There was some question which
There is
Kirtida
one
already
question by
answered.
Ruti. Why pain in parotid gland?
Kirtida has already answered. Today we have
Okay.
Kirtida with us, who uh, who is a co-founder of Children's India Group.
Okay.
So she has already answered that question for us.
Okay. Perfect.
Thank you, Kirtida, for that. So, is there any other question which is still unanswered or we have missed out on any questions? Please ask.
I would say one more thing, not to scare you guys. My hospital made a patient story video on me. Uh, After all this, after a lung transplant, lung cancer, everything, I now do gymnastics. So they decided to make a video on me. Go and see the video. That will tell you if you don't take care of acid reflux, what happens. So if you put my name in YouTube, you can see that video. So have a look at that if you want. So please do not ignore any of the recommendation which Neetu is giving you guys.
Thank you, Ajit, for your expertise today because you really have suffered a lot because of this single issue. We really are with you and we hope you the best of everything ahead. And I guess we can wind this session over here.
Sure.
So thank you so much. Thank you everybody for joining us today. We'll all meet again for a new session, new day with might be some new panelists. Thank you so much, everybody.